Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about how to build a huge power bank, a high capacity power bank. You could even say basically the world's largest power bank. Though, of course, that's a huge exaggeration. The world's largest power bank. Next to me, I have a ton of lithium-ion cells, more than 100 of these 18651 cells, and each cell is 2,200 milliamp hours, as you can see here. You can easily calculate that with more than 100 of these lithium-ion cells, that amounts to quite a lot. I'll be able to power entire shows with this. In the next few seconds, I'll show you, with the help of some pictures, how they were made. I built 4 of these packs. In this row here, there are 12 cells. In this other row, also 12 cells. And in this one, 4 cells. So 12, 12, and 4, which means 28 lithium cells are grouped together, all 18651 cells. Each one, as I mentioned, is 2,200 milliamp hours. And there are 4 of these packs. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each module has its own small BMS module. This is what a BMS module looks like. BMS stands for Battery Management System, and it monitors each cell individually for overvoltage and undervoltage. The job of the BMS module is to prevent the battery cells from being overcharged or overdischarged so they don't get damaged. Overcharging can cause a fire, and if you discharge them too much, the cell will be ruined. So this is a safety device. Each pack received one of these protective cells, and every pack can handle 20 amps. Basically, if I were to connect all of them in parallel, I would get 80 amps. So one of these cells is 28 volts, and if we connect them all in parallel, we have 28 volts at 80 amps available, which is an enormous amount. Of course, it's another question how these cells would handle 80 amps, but a single cell doesn't need to deliver 80 amps. There are 8 in the 2 packs and 16 in the 4 packs in parallel, so you have to divide the 80 amps by 16, and that's how much current goes to a single battery cell, which really isn't that much at all. The individual cells can easily handle that amount of current for a short period of time without any issues. I use this kind of heat shrink tubing, specifically this diameter, which comfortably fits both 2 cells and 4 cells together, and then the heat shrink wraps these cell packs together like this. And what else? Of course, I could have chosen something else for the heat shrink wrapping if I wanted to. I didn't tie them together with heat shrink, but rather with these plastic holders, like the one I have in my hand here, which are designed for this exact purpose. These plastic holders look like this, and you can connect the plastic holders together. I'll try to connect them right now, like this. And this is what a 4-cell holder looks like. And of course, you can connect another 4 to this. And you could also do it in a way where you use these plastic holders to keep them together. That's a much more elegant solution. But since these cells came out of laptops, they were already bundled together to begin with. So I didn't want to complicate things any further. Even as it was, putting these together was a huge job. In the next part, I'll show you a very short test, which is about this device here in my hand, in the box. It's an inverter, a 48-volt inverter, so it converts 48 volts into 220 or 240 volts. It was sold as a 2,000-watt inverter, but in reality, it can handle about 500 watts. The manufacturer claimed that the 2,000 watts is about, it can barely survive that. It can handle 800 watts continuously, but that 800 watts is actually about 500 watts. So with this type of inverter, one's about this size, you shouldn't be fooled into thinking you can actually deliver 2 kilowatts. If you connect 2 kilowatts to it, one of 2 things will happen. Either it will break, or it will simply shut off due to overload. This inverter also has a display that shows how many volts are coming in and how many are going out. So I'm going to set up this inverter, and for the load, I'll be using this lamp. All these cells, more than 100 of them that come with it, will be put into this box. If I, for example, line them up next to each other, or let's say stack them like this, and the other one like that, well, it didn't quite work out just now, but you can basically Lego them together, so you end up with a pretty nice little rectangular block. So once I've Legoed these together, they'll be wired out from that box over there, as you can see, and an inverter will be connected to this. The whole point of this is that if I have other work to do in the garden, like trimming hedges or whatever, I won't have to run an extension cord out there. I'll just take this little box with me. It'll weigh about 6 to 7 kilograms in total. I'll put a little handle on it, and once I set it down, I'll have power available right there on the spot. Instead of the inverter I have, I've already ordered a bigger one, at least on paper, an inverter that's rated for 10,000. So it's a 10 kilowatt inverter, but in practice, it'll be able to deliver 2 kilowatts. In this pile here under my hand, there are a total of 112 lithium cells. Each one is 2.2 amp hours. I planned for the whole thing to be able to deliver 80 amp hours. So 80 times 28 volts is roughly 2.2 kilowatts, which is about what this system is capable of. If the whole thing delivers 80 amp hours, that means each cell is at 5 amps. I think 5 amps per cell isn't going to be that much, and if it gets a 5 amp load, then naturally the cell will discharge in about 20 minutes. But for those 20 minutes, it can deliver 2 kilowatts. The test will be with this 500-watt floodlight here. Like I said, it can do 500 watts, and this will be its first time being powered up, so we're going to try it out. I'm going to connect 2 banks in series and the other 2 banks in parallel with these. And that way, instead of 48 volts, I'll actually get 56 volts. But that's still perfectly fine for this inverter, because it's designed as if there were 4 12-volt lead-acid batteries connected in series. Fully charged 12-volt batteries are actually 14 volts, and 4 of those in series make 56 volts. So I'm going to supply 56 volts to this 48-volt inverter, and then it will produce the voltage written on it. Well, actually, this one isn't 220 volts, but if I'm not mistaken, it's 240 volts, or at least that's what it should say. Or maybe it doesn't say it, but we'll check how it works. I've put a little Wago connector on the end of every wire here. You have to put these on even if you're not using them, because if the wires accidentally touch, it would cause a huge spark. So these 112 cells together provide 56 volts here for the inverter. Right now, that's 56 volts, and there's 216 volts at its output. This inverter has a really loud fan. I'll try to talk over it. So thank you all very much for your attention and for watching. I'm glad you watched my video. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.